Welcome to our friends on Facebook Live. I'm Brian Ross, and tonight my colleague Rhonda Schwartz is on assignment. We begin with the never-before-told tale of corruption, powerful interests, and mafia hits, all told by the man who was at the time the youngest mayor ever of a major American city, Dennis Kucinich of Cleveland. His amazing tale is in his new book out this week, The Division of Light and Power. I covered Kucinich as a young reporter in Cleveland. It was the 1970s. And as recounted in the movie Kill the Irishman, the mafia was flexing its muscles.
Inside, Rabbi Rudolph Rosenthal characterized Burns as no saint. But he said the numbers figure had much charity and was often generous and had many
Dennis
friends.
Kucinich, welcome to our program. I have to say, but for the incest, your book reads like a modern-day version of Chinatown. Were you up against powerful corporations, lobbyists, corrupt police, a corrupt city hall, and the Cleveland mafia?
Yeah, I was really lucky to get out of there alive during that time.
You talk about shots fired into your home right there in that house?
Yeah, right behind me on the wall on the left, there was a high-powered rifle shot that went through the place where I was sitting, and had I not moved a split second earlier, it would have hit me in the head. And I can tell you that one of the aspects of the story is this undercurrent of violence, which I never talked about. I mean, the book is the first time I have ever discussed what was going on, because when you're in office and you're a target, you get enough people that might be coming after you without talking about the pros who are out to get you.
Dennis's campaign aides, first of all, proclaimed him the winner of tonight's election and the next mayor of Cleveland.
Dennis Kucinich was the boy mayor of Cleveland from 1977 until 1979. To say that his tenure as mayor was turbulent is an understatement.
Were you at the time the youngest mayor of a major city in America? Who were you making so angry, and why?
Well, the big issue that the book is about, the title, The Division of Light and Power, is really about Cleveland's municipal electric system. And there was a long effort to sabotage that system and to take it over by the private utility who was seeking a monopoly. And I was standing in the way. And what I learned later on from police officials is that my stance on protecting that light system, among other things, drew the attention of organized crime. And, it was one of those issues that was involved in assassination planning.
The people voted to keep their power plant, while it cost their mayor his political career.
Knowing what you know now and maturing the way you have, do you think you might take the same stand?
Principles don't change with time. It's really a matter of what's inside of you. I did what was right for the people at the time, and if people today say I was right, I'm glad they do.
Yet you say at the end you have no regrets, and you won the day.
Well, look, life goes on. My approach to life is that I don't have hard feelings towards anyone, but this story is important because people need to know what goes on behind the scenes in a big city, the kind of forces that can drive it, and what happens when one person, in this case the mayor, and it was me, will take on the very forces that think that they run the city regardless of who the people elected. So this, there absolutely are risks that one takes when you challenge the status quo from inside City Hall.
But just as insidious, I think, in your book is your description of how bankers and corporate officials sought to undermine your efforts to reform the City Hall.
Look, people think they know where City Hall is. I found out that City Hall was in the boardrooms of banks, of utility monopolies, of major corporations, of the mob, and all these interests are used to running City Hall in their financial to their financial benefit. And so, when I was elected, I wasn't a novice, but as a young mayor, I think people just expected that I'd be a pushover. And when I said no, you can say no very softly, like, But when you say no, and these interest groups are so used to getting a yes, hear that, they go, well, wait a minute. And so their reaction can be very powerful.
Headlines throughout the media broadcast the battle between the Kucinich administration and privately owned CEI over who would own the city's municipal power plant.
But people elected me, you know, that's who I accounted for. And the big issue was the light system. There was an attempt to steal the municipal electric system. And I stood in the way. I was the only person standing in the way. They needed my signature. It wasn't going to happen.
And you actually write that the big utility that wanted the municipal system caused blackouts purposely?
Absolutely. I mean, it's actually a matter of federal court records and federal investigations. They caused blackouts on the system in order to cause the public to lose confidence in the system. They'd go into the neighborhoods after the blackouts and ask Muni-Light customers to sign up with their firm saying, hey, it looks like your light system isn't working very well. I mean, it's really like a mob-related tactic. You know, you got a nice place here, you know, you want to keep it that way. And so sign up with us and take our electricity, you won't have any problems. They were creating blackouts on the system. And you know, the cover of the book is instructive, the cover of the book is instructive in that regard, because, you know, what we really talk about is light and power, not only about the name of the city's electric system, right, but it's also about how power is wielded and whether anyone can bring, you know, light to a situation and actually let people know what's going on. And you know, the story of Cleveland, I'm sure has happened in other places, but I just happened to be the first person who had the opportunity and the time to tell the story, and that I survived to tell the story.
It was Cleveland's banking community that applied heavy pressure on 31-year-old Mayor Dennis Kucinich to sell the power plant, or they wouldn't refinance the city's outstanding bond debt.
What lessons are there for city officials now who are dealing with some of these same issues in their towns and cities?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing is try not to be obligated. You know, the campaign finance puts a lot, you know, creates a lot of vulnerability for elected officials. You know, get elected spending as least amount of money as you can, because you don't want to have to be obligated to interest groups. And, you know, as I write in the book, I had some spiritual guides along the way who would help remind me that every minute counts, that what happens in a minute when everybody's looking or not, that really counts. And so to me, actually, and this might sound funny coming from someone who's in public office, but, you know, I was always concerned about my soul, even more so than winning the next election, because I actually believe in that saying, what profit a man if he wins, you know, gains the whole world and loses his soul. That's what I was thinking about when I was in the room with the bankers and the council president, with the banker and the council president, and they gave me that final ultimatum about selling the light system. Hey, you know what? I couldn't do it because it wasn't mine to give away.
Dennis Kucinich, I want to thank you so much for being here. A powerful new book. I recommend it to everybody. It's an important part of American history that we haven't known much about until you've written this.
Well, Brian, it means so much to talk to you, and thank you for your service in Cleveland. We met in Cleveland many years ago, and as an investigative reporter, I'm sure you can well understand the kind of footnoting that went on in this book.
Oh, it's great. It is well documented.
In order to back up everything that's said.
All right, Dennis Kucinich, thank you again for being here tonight.
Thank you.